is that a way to cut back? Like on price-wise? If somebody wants to cheap out? So if I get a price on a house, say for instance, they just put in, switches and not give me, multiple ways to get in and out of my house and cut down the price?
There's many ways to cut down on the price when you're doing electrical. You can not put as many switches in so that people wouldn't know that until you move into the house. Because if nobody brings that up to you, you will never know that. So you'll walk in and go, where's the switch to turn on this light? And there's a lot of ways you can cut costs. You can also put a lot of receptacles on one circuit and not run as many circuits as we do. We try to...
So outlets,
yeah.
Take a lot of outlets, so put, say, 10 outlets on one circuit. Is that, what do you usually do one circuit? How many outlets?
It all depends on, I try to limit it. We also try to figure out what the people are going to use in those 8 to 12 hours that we go over with the people. We usually take the time out to find out what they're going to be using each space for. So then that way we figure out what type of loads that'll be required. So like in this case, there's going to be an entertainment center over here. There's another circuit there just for the entertainment center because the customer has a lot of amplifiers and everything going on here and a TV. So we want to make sure that there's plenty of power here.
And you can tell they're running the HDMI cables right now too, so that's going to be a big thing over there too. What about energy efficient stuff? What's the deal with that right now?
Energy efficient, for years there's been fluorescents, and fluorescents are good, but I'm not a fan of fluorescents. They change the color. Even the new LED, there's changing of the colors of the light. And what you want to do is,
are they better? Are they more expensive?
The LED is definitely more expensive, but it's definitely the way the government is pushing everything. The reason why I've been using standard recessed lights that you can put any kind of new retrofit bulb in is because LED and all these energy efficient bulbs are still up and coming, and every year, just like electronics, there's new technology. Some that last year wouldn't dim, and it would dim like 80%, and then finally they would just shut off. Now they'll dim out to like 30 or 40%.
Oh, that's good. So that means all the Hayats in here could accept that.
Correct.
That's what you're saying. Okay.
Which this house is going to have has to have 50% energy efficient, based upon the EPA codes.
Codes that they're changing. I also want to talk about the outlets in this house. The outlets in this house are going to be all put in the baseboard, so they're not going to be your traditional outlets. What we like to do is hide your outlets because they just stick out in the wall so much. So what we did over here is we put them all in the baseboard below. Rob, talk about that.
So instead of, like Mark was saying, instead of putting them up high in the sheetrock, with this house, there's going to be a lot of paneling and detail work. So we're putting them in the base, so they'll be horizontal in the base molding. Plus, when you're plugging in things, you're not going to have wires hanging down.
So you don't put boxes right now? What do we have there? What's that?
Right now, we're just going to wait until after the trimmer is done. When the trimmer puts the baseboard in, he's going to cut out the hole. Then we're going to come back and set the box and do our connections and then put our device in.
It doesn't seem very cost effective. You got to keep coming back, so that's more expensive, obviously.
Correct.
With a nicer look.
It looks a lot nicer.
That's what we try to do.
Especially with the National Electrical Codes, the placement of outlets. You need an outlet any wall 2 foot or more, and then you need outlets within 6 feet of each other across the whole perimeter of any room.
That's good.
So you're not going to use every outlet. The whole reason for that is to avoid the use of extension cords. But most likely you're not going to plug something into every single outlet in the room.
Nice. Let's, you know what? Let's talk about the panel. Let's go downstairs and talk about the brains of the operation. Come on. All right, come on. Let's go over here by the panel. All right, Rob, what do we got here? How many amps is this service going to be?
This house has a 300 amp service, and with multiple sub-panels, due to the size of this house, with the distance, you need to consider voltage drop, which a lot of guys don't necessarily do. We still have to enter all these cables. We still have to run a few more cables.
So we're in the middle of this right now. We don't have our meter outside yet. We're waiting for that to happen from Rockland Electric. That's what we use over here. So it's all not tied in yet. So he's working on this right now, but I just wanted to show you what happens with all these feeds running all down here and everything else like that, which is a lot of feeds.
So within the last maybe 10 years, they changed the colors of the wires. So this way it's easier for the inspectors to make sure that you're running the correct size wires. So the orange is number 10 wire. The yellow is number 12 wire, which is more for an appliance circuit. The white are lighting loads and just basic general outlets. And the black are anything more than 40 or 50 amps or even 60
So what's the black
amps.
one for? Which one is
This
for?
particular one is for a steam shower that's installed in this house, which again, we wouldn't be able to install this without having the specific specifications for the unit that's going to be installed in here.
And which one's this one?
Those are
big one.
Yep, that's going to be 100 amps going back to the sub panels. We're also pre-wiring this house for a generator, which may or may not be installed, but at least you don't have to go back and do work twice.
Is that very costly to do it now or later? What's better to do that generator with?
You're better off paying a little bit now, so you're not paying a lot later.
What does a generator, when we put a generator in, what does that have to, is that like a total different sub panel? What does that have to do?
We put a transfer switch in, which transfer the load from the utility to the generator power. And we put in special panels that are going to be marked and designated just for the loads that are going out, that are going to be powered during a power outage.
So we can come back and we'll see that after that's all done. The other thing though is that we have a sub panel. Now what's the deal with the sub panel? Why do we need that? Why can't we just put everything right here?
Because of the distance and the size of the house, you're going to have many circuits that are going to be a couple hundred feet long, and you really don't want them to be that long. You want heavier wire going to another location where you can pick up the smaller circuits where you won't have voltage drop.
Now, let me ask you a question though. If somebody wanted to cut corners, could they put it all here?
You can put it all here, and then some of your appliances, depending on how appliances or any kind of lighting, that if the circuit has too many things on it, it won't work correctly.
Let's take a walk over there where we're going to put this up in. Come on. And see how far this actually is. Wow. Okay. Now, we're over here, which is pretty far. And we got a lot of wires over here because we're really right underneath the kitchen, so that really helps out a lot too. Is that normally what you do? Put them underneath the kitchen?
Try to put them where you have major appliances, where you don't want them to be too far away. This particular reason why we have a lot of loads here, or a lot of circuits, is because we have two sub panels here. Two sub panels. One is going to be things that are not going to be on the generator, unless you went and put in a larger generator that can handle the entire house. Then you would only put one sub panel over here. But in this case, there's going to be a smaller generator just for essential loads, so you can save money there.
That's cool. A lot of stuff here. All right, so we're going to get back to that. So we're going to show you when this is all finished and everything, and we'll explain a little bit more how he runs this all done. So we'll get back to you in a little bit. We're outside now. I want to talk about the outside lighting. A lot of builders don't even include your outside lighting, spotlights and everything else. This actual house, the people put outlets in the soffits for Christmas lights. So if you're a fanatic Christmas light person, it's something to think about. Also, there's a lot of outlets on the outside that are running in all the stone and everything. I want to show you a couple things that we did on the outside over here. Come on. If you notice, right there, there's an outlet. That's in our soffit. So that's where that outlet is going to be running over there.
We also have numerous outlets there. All these outlets that we're putting in throughout the whole front for holiday lighting are also controlled by a timer which will be in the basement, so the homeowner doesn't have to go and plug them in, because you can easily just tap off of any kind of circuit within the house that you don't have to go all the way back. Every time you have to plug something in, the homeowner would have to go and plug something in to turn it on every night, and then at 12 o'clock or whenever they want to shut it off, unplug it.
And who wants to go outside at 12 at night? Not me. Oh, come on over here.
These outlets here are weatherproof, which they need to have a cover on them. And a number of years ago, they changed where they need to be in-use covers. Well, they have to be weather tight while they're in use, so meaning that they're closed and that water cannot go into them. There's other covers that are cheaper that we don't use. They stick out way off the building, and they're just not they're unsightly. So
Compared to what it was before, as you could see. I mean, they used to stick out how far around?
they would stick out to about here, at least.
Like bubble
At
caps.
least another 3 inches. But the siding's going to be here, right where my hand is. So they're only going to stick out about an inch. Most of the electric part of it is recessed within the cavity of the wall.
That's nice. That's a lot better over here. And if you notice over here too, we have some hi-hats outside. And again, another outlet over here. That is for all his, Christmas lights, candles, whatever are going to be hanging there, icicles. See up there, there's another outlet over there. And, so that was what we have right now for electric. I want to thanks again for talking to us. And, we're going to talk again about when we finish all the panels downstairs and how we run all our wires in there, stuff like that. So thanks for watching DivakDevelopers.com, and stay tuned for more episodes. Thanks.
Thank you.